If you're using Linux in 2026 and you still think installing Windows applications is some kind of messy workaround, this video is going to completely change your perspective, because today I installed Wine on Linux Mint 22.3 the proper way, not the lazy copy-paste way, not the outdated form method from 2018, but the correct, modern, repository-based, future-proof way, and what I discovered matters more now than ever. Linux Mint 22.3, built on the solid foundation of Ubuntu's latest LTS base and powered by a polished Cinnamon desktop, has become one of the most stable and beginner-friendly distributions in the Linux world. And yet one question still follows it everywhere. Can it really replace Windows if you still need Windows applications? That's where Wine comes in. And before we go any further, let's clarify something important. Wine is not an emulator. It's not a virtual machine. It doesn't run a copy of Windows inside Linux. Wine, originally standing for Wine is not an emulator, is a compatibility layer that translates Windows API calls into POSIX calls on the fly, meaning your Windows software runs almost natively on Linux. The project behind it, the long-running and incredibly dedicated team at the Wine project, has spent decades refining this compatibility layer, and in 2026, it's more mature than ever. Now here's the problem most people run into. They open the software manager in Linux Mint, type Wine, and click install on whatever appears first. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes you get an outdated version from the base repository that lacks critical fixes for modern Windows 10 and Windows 11 applications. Then they try installing a .exe file, something breaks, dependencies are missing, fonts look wrong, DirectX errors pop up, and suddenly Linux gets blamed. But the issue isn't Linux Mint, it's not even Wine, it's how Wine was installed. In 2026, with Windows pushing deeper into AI integration, online account enforcement, and hardware restrictions, more people than ever are moving to Linux Mint 22.3 as a daily driver, and the demand for a proper Windows compatibility layer setup has skyrocketed. If you're going to rely on Wine for productivity apps, legacy software, business tools, or even certain games, you cannot afford to treat it like an afterthought. So let's talk about doing this the proper way. First, we don't rely on the default distro-provided Wine version if it's outdated. Instead, we add the official repository maintained by the Wine developers themselves. That ensures we receive the latest stable or development builds, optimized patches, and proper staging components. After enabling 32-bit architecture support, because yes, even in 2026, many Windows applications still rely on 32-bit libraries, we import the official WineHQ signing key and add the correct repository for the Ubuntu base that Linux Mint 22.3 is built upon. This step is critical. Skipping architecture support is one of the biggest mistakes users make. Without it, countless applications will either fail to launch or behave unpredictably. Once the repository is added, updating the system and installing the recommended stable Wine build ensures you're running a version aligned with the latest compatibility database. And here's where things start to matter in a bigger way. In 2026, the Windows software ecosystem is fragmented. Some applications expect Windows 10 APIS, others assume Windows 11 features. Some older programs were built during the Windows 7 era. The proper Wine installation ensures that when you configure your Wine prefix, you can select the appropriate Windows version compatibility mode. That's another detail beginners overlook. The Wine prefix is essentially a self-contained Windows environment stored in your home directory. Treat it like a sandbox. For serious setups, you don't use one prefix for everything. You create separate prefixes for separate applications, isolating them from each other. That way, if one program requires older DLL overrides or specific runtime libraries, it won't break another program. When I first installed Wine on Linux Mint 22.3 using the official repository method, the difference compared to the default package was noticeable immediately. Font rendering was cleaner. Performance was smoother. There were fewer dependency complaints. But that's only part of the story. In 2026, Wine is rarely used alone. Tools like Winetricks and graphical frontends have evolved dramatically. Winetricks allows you to install essential runtime components like Visual C++ redistributables, net frameworks, DirectX libraries, and core fonts. Many Windows programs won't even start without those dependencies. The proper way to set up Wine includes installing Winetricks alongside it, so you can prepare each prefix correctly before running your application installer. And let's talk about why this matters specifically now. Microsoft's ecosystem in 2026 has leaned heavily into subscription services and cloud integration. Offline installers are becoming less common. Many users moving to Linux Mint still rely on Windows-only business software, accounting tools, or niche enterprise apps. Virtual machines are an option, but they consume significant resources. Not everyone wants to dedicate 8 or 16 gigabytes of RAM just to keep a Windows VM running in the background. Wine, when installed and configured correctly, allows many applications to run directly on Linux with minimal overhead. On mid-range hardware, the difference is dramatic. Applications launch faster than they would inside a VM. System integration feels more native. Clipboard sharing works seamlessly. File access is direct. There's also the gaming angle. While Proton, developed by Valve Corporation for Steam, has taken center stage in Linux gaming, Proton itself is built on Wine. Understanding how Wine works under the hood empowers you to troubleshoot gaming compatibility issues outside of Steam. For example, if you download a Windows game from GOG or another DRM-free platform, you can create a dedicated Wine prefix, install required DirectX components through Winetricks, and often achieve performance comparable to Proton setups. In fact, many improvements made by Valve feed back into the upstream Wine codebase. The ecosystem is interconnected. One thing I noticed after the proper installation on Linux Mint 22.3 is how stable the system remained. Linux Mint's Cinnamon desktop handled Windows application windows gracefully. They integrated into the taskbar. They respected system themes reasonably well. File associations could be configured easily. And because Linux Mint prioritizes stability over bleeding-edge experimentation, combining it with the stable branch from WineHQ creates a balanced environment. Modern compatibility without sacrificing reliability. Now let's address security, because this is where 2026 makes things different. Running Windows executables on Linux does not magically eliminate all risks. Malware designed for Windows can still operate within a Wine prefix if executed. However, the containment model is different. Wine runs under your user account. It doesn't have access to Windows system internals because there aren't any. That said, the proper installation process also means understanding file permissions and sandboxing options. Many advanced users pair Wine with tools like Flatpak sandboxing or even container-based isolation for extra safety. But the key takeaway is that blindly installing random.exe files without understanding Wine prefixes can expose your home directory to unwanted behavior. The proper setup includes organizing prefixes in structured directories, restricting access where possible, and backing up important data. Another reason this matters in 2026 is performance optimization. Modern Wine builds include improved support for Vulkan-based DirectX. Translation layers like DXVK and VKD3D, these components translate DirectX calls into Vulkan, dramatically boosting graphics performance. If you rely on Windows creative software or certain 3D tools, installing DXVK properly inside your Wine prefix can make the difference between laggy performance and smooth usability. The official Wine repository ensures compatibility with the latest DXVK releases. The older distro packages often lag behind. During my installation on Linux Mint 22.3, I also made sure to test both the stable and staging branches. The staging branch includes experimental patches that can improve compatibility for specific applications. In some cases, staging builds resolved issues that stable builds didn't. But here's the key: you should not randomly mix repository versions. Stick with either stable or staging from the official source. Mixing distro packages with upstream packages is one of the fastest ways to create dependency conflicts. I also tested legacy software. An old Windows-only accounting tool from the early 2010s installed perfectly after adding the necessary Visual C++ libraries through Winetricks. It launched instantly. Printing worked via cups. PDF exports functioned normally. On Windows 11, that same application required compatibility mode tweaks and sometimes froze. On Linux Mint 22.3 with properly installed Wine, it felt smoother. That's something people rarely talk about. Older Windows software often runs better on Wine than on modern Windows versions because Wine emulates older API behavior more consistently than Microsoft's evolving platform does. There's also the psychological factor. Many new Linux users install Wine incorrectly, encounter one error, and conclude Linux isn't ready. But the reality in 2026 is that Linux Mint 22.3, combined with a properly configured Wine environment, can handle a significant portion of everyday Windows software needs. Office alternatives like LibreOffice reduce dependency on Microsoft Office. Browsers are native. Media tools are native. For the remaining edge cases, Wine fills the gap. What surprised me most was how little manual tweaking was required once everything was installed correctly. In the past, configuring Wine felt like an advanced user task. In 2026, the maturity of the Wine project and improvements in Linux Mint-based system mean most applications either run out of the box or require minimal Winetricks adjustments. The experience is far less intimidating than it was 5 or 10 years ago. And this brings us to the bigger picture. Installing Wine the proper way isn't just about running one program. It's about committing to Linux Mint as a long-term platform. When you rely on official repositories, understand architecture requirements, manage prefixes intentionally, and install dependencies methodically, you create a sustainable workflow. You're no longer trying Linux. You're building on it. The conversation around desktop computing in 2026 is shifting. Privacy concerns, subscription fatigue, hardware requirements, and forced updates have pushed many users away from Windows. Linux Mint 22.3 offers stability, familiarity, and control. Wine acts as a bridge rather than a crutch. When installed properly, it becomes invisible infrastructure. You click a Windows installer, it runs, and you continue your work. If you're serious about replacing Windows without sacrificing access to critical applications, you need to stop treating Wine as a quick hack and start treating it as part of your system architecture. Add the official repository. Enable 32-bit support. Install stable builds. Use Winetricks wisely. Create separate prefixes. Test staging only when necessary. Keep your system updated, back up your prefixes. Understand what you're running. Because in 2026, Linux Mint 22.3 isn't just a hobbyist's OS, it's a legitimate daily driver for professionals, students, gamers, and businesses. And Wine, when installed the proper way, is one of the most powerful tools that makes that possible.